Hey everybody, welcome to our weekly show on the thought on for the Power of Connection chat. My name is Bobby Umar, and I'm happy to see my co-host joining us for this conversation. Today we're going to talk about social selling, how to monetize your business across multiple platforms. That's something I talk a lot about, and I think it's an important conversation to have. And whether we're talking about Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, or even talking about social selling in general, I want to give as much information for the people in this audience as we can to help them on their journey to build their business, build their brand, and generate the how to monetize and generate the income that you want for your business. So that's really what today is all about. Power Connection Chat takes on topics around connection. So connection with people, businesses, relationships, communities, social media, content creation, all storytelling, all those types of things, networking and whatnot. And today that's the topic. So I'm going to promote again. I appreciate people already here. If you want to come on stage and share a thought or ask a question, you can. I mean, the number one question I'd ask you is two questions. Number one, how do you define social selling? Number two, how are you monetizing your business across more than one platform? Because if you're not, then I want to understand what's stopping you. So those are things that I want you to come on stage and answer the question. And with that, I will pass it over to actually before I didn't even say anything. Hi, Indra and Melanie. How's your weekend, Indra? How was your weekend? How's the
Hey,
garden?
hey, Bobby, the garden's good, and we got some cycling in over the weekend, so that was fun. Got out in the what was sunny and warm in California, and now it is not so warm in California. How was your weekend?
It was good. I'm trying to remember it. It feels like it's a blur. So, but I think, I had a nice little outing, because it's the month of fasting, right? So my family's fasting. But one of the things we did, which was funny, was we decided to do a road trip for our early morning fast. We found a restaurant. Funny enough, it's a Denny's, which is a really funny brand, but it was open 24 hours. So we showed up at this restaurant at 4:30 in the morning and we ate. And then actually, it was packed full of other people who were eating before they closed their fast. It was actually pretty vibrant and kind of fun as to be out there in the middle of nowhere at 4:30 in the morning having this early morning breakfast. So that was pretty fun. Melanie, how about you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. It was nothing like crazy or eventful. Got some retail therapy done at Target and yesterday. Did some cleaning around the house, and yeah, just trying to get back to a normal life after having COVID. And my voice, I think, is somewhat back. It's still a little scratchy, and but starting to feel normal, and gonna try to do a workout today, and we're gonna see. I'm a little nervous because I've worked really hard and my endurance was getting up, and then yesterday as I was trying to come up, because I live on the second floor, I was bringing up all my things from retail therapy, and I was like, oh boy, I'm really winded, and like in the past that would not have like caused me that. I could have carried everything up in one fell swoop, and so we're gonna see how I do today. So we're gonna take it nice and easy, but a little anxious to see what happens with that. So
Yeah, just pace yourself. I'm the king of pacing myself. So I could teach you a thing or
yes,
two on how to chill.
I'm the one that goes all 150 miles per hour and then goes, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So, but no, I am going to
Yeah.
take it. I don't know if I'm going to take my class today or not. I may just do the treadmill, but we'll see what happens. So,
Although I'm also big on therapy. Like I find cleaning to be therapeutic. So I cleaned the kitchen, did the dishes, did some cooking. I was cleaning, so I took the laundry away. So I did
yeah.
that too. So all right, on to the topic. So let's go. I'm going to start promoting this room. And again, if you want to be part of this conversation, you want to be on stage, put your hand up. Let's bring you up on stage. If you want to promote this, you can click on the arrow button on top and tweet it out there, or DM people, or you can share in the conversation with the bubble on the bottom right with conversations. You can actually ask questions. We'd love that. But let's get into introductions while I do some more tweeting. Indra, then Melanie.
Well, hello everyone. It's Indra Bartona. I'm a producer in the film and television industry, a TV host, and also the founder of the Positivity Vibe Tribe. We host wonderful spaces on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And actually, Success Minded is in the space at the moment, and we are actually having a space this week. Last Thursday, we had a small break, but we're back on this Wednesday. And we talk about a lot of topics, including self care, gratitude, just in general, like a lot of positive topics, lifestyle topics that help and support you. And every now and again, we kind of step outside the box and we talk about books, we talk about movies. So we're trying to change things up around here. And occasionally, we also do book reviews and we invite authors on there. So do check out our spaces. And over to you, Melanie.
Thanks, Indra. Yes, I am a former recruiter with over 20 years of experience, and now I am a career coach and I work with professionals and I teach them how to navigate not only today's job market from their resumes to their LinkedIn profiles and strategy, but also to job searching and networking in particular. And I work with individuals that are across the United States that come from all different professions. So excited to have this topic because Bobby knows this topic is a particular one to me that I felt had a very huge impact on me. And actually, I need to be doing a better job than I am. So I'm going to pass it back over to you, Bobby.
Okie dokie. So my name is Bobby Umar. I am a professional speaker by trade. The last 17 years, I've traveled around the world, delivered 1,000 keynotes across 4 continents. I'm a 5-time TEDx speaker, and my expertise is in the area of leadership development. But over the years, I've developed more of a niche expertise in areas like networking and building connection, in personal branding, in digital marketing, particularly leveraging platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter. Twitter, I have 500,000 followers. LinkedIn, I have 70,000 followers. Instagram. I also am the founder of the Thought Leadership Brand Club, which is an online membership community to help people build their brands and build their careers to that next level. So a lot of what I talk about is content related for sure. Community building, content creation, relationship building. That's kind of what I focus on. And that's how I help businesses with what they're trying to do. And I basically help people get clarity in their personal brand so they know their target and who they are and how they can stand out. And then help them build a thought leadership brand through their content creation, their relationship building, through their storytelling, speaking, through their mindset and confidence, so that they can start attracting business, digital revenue, TED Talks, book deals, media appearances, and job opportunities. So that's what it's really all about. So if you want to come on stage and ask a question, we'd love to have you put your hand up. If you like what you hear, you can always engage with a heart or all the different little emoticons, which we love. They're kind of lovely like that. You can try those out. That's all great. Um, but let's talk about social selling. I was going to call it social selling versus social serving, because the whole idea of social selling is that the first word is more important than the second word. Okay, social. It should be really. I mean, social selling is essentially social, and then put brackets around it, square it to or take it to the 10th power of exponents. Okay, I'm being a math nerd here, but you multiply that multiple times, and then you get to the selling. So basically, it's social, 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 serving, 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 and then selling. And the whole idea behind that is you're trying to build a relationship, because in the beginning, no one's going to pay to do stuff with you unless they know you. They have to first know you, then they have to like you, then they have to trust you. And when it comes to social selling, the social piece is first you build awareness of who you are, and then you build familiarity. Now they kind of know you by name, and pretty soon they start to trust you, and that's when the magic happens. So, you know, I could tell you that I've done 5 TEDx talks, and I could say, "Hey, buy my TEDx course. I sell it. That's great." But that's not really going to be helpful. I think what happens is I'll say, "Look, I talk about TEDx stuff all the time. People see my content on here, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Then I run the webinar workshop I did. Then I booked a call, and then after that, some people booked to work with me. And other people, did not. But they might come back later, because some people, the social selling piece happens over a period of 2-3 years because they build trust. I hired a coach last year to help me with something I felt was a gap, but I'd known him for 2 years, and in that relationship, built trust over a long period of time. And I saw his content. I loved what he was talking about. And eventually I said, "You know what? Let's have a call." And after our call, I was like, "This is great. Let's do business. I want to hire you." And so I hired him. And so, the social selling piece is a longer term investment. But the idea is that you build the relationship, you build the trust, and if there's an opportunity for a transaction, you can get to it, but you don't force it. And I think that to me is, when I define social selling, I'd say it's focusing on the social to build the trust of the relationship, and then eventually you can get to the point where there's selling. I'd love to hear Indra and Melanie share their definition of social selling.
I think you really nailed it, Bobby. As in social selling, well, I think of social media, as you mentioned, and connecting with other people, which is what your brand is all about, which what Melanie also is all about, is connecting with people and building relationships. And I feel that social audio is a really big opportunity for us to do that, as well as other things. People do get a sense of what your brand is about, what you are about, from your posts, from your content in general. Um, One thing that's really useful, I think, in on all the social media platforms, is the links that either go to our website or they go to a link tree or something that have more information. So I think that's really important to put all those things out there. But they're just some of my initial thoughts on that. Over to you, Melanie.
Yeah, and so when I think of selling, I have to go back to when I say I was a recruiter for 20 years, you have to understand that that's a selling, that it's a completely selling type of job, because I worked within the staffing industry. So my job really was 100%, sales, even though the function was recruiting for clients and things of that nature. So I had to very much learn. I learned very early on in terms of what type of quote unquote salesperson I was going to be, as opposed to what was taught to me from the industry. So I had to really lean into what my strengths were, which for me personally, and the reason I share this was it really became like I was a very good listener. And to the point that people often would joke in the office, like, is she on the phone? Because I always had my headset on, but I wouldn't be speaking. And so I got really early on, I learned very quickly, like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to listen to what the person really has to say. I'm going to build a relationship with them. I'm never going to be that hard salesperson that's going to be like, yeah, you need to take this deal, and you need to take this candidate, and but I could play hardball when I needed it. And so I think that's done me well for now in the space that I am with, being a coach, is that I don't actually put, like, it's very rare if you ever see anything from me like pushing a service or pushing anything. I put my knowledge, I give my knowledge, I share it. I interact with my audience and my target audience, and I interact with them from a social place. And so for me, that's really what the whole, social selling. I don't even really focus on the selling piece, because what happens is by building those relationships, people come to me, people connect with me, and people then want to have that conversation about, like, oh, well, tell me how you could help me with my resume, or how could, um, tell me more about the, networking for success program that you offer, things along those lines. And so to me, that's really kind of quote unquote what social selling is. It's about listening. It's about, as Bobby said, building relationships. It's not going to be something that is going, there are going to be times that it's going to be kind of quick and easy, and you you always appreciate that. And then there's going to be that time that person does reach out to you after 2 years and says, hey, let's have a conversation. And you see and then you end up seeing the fruits of the labor. So that's kind of the lens of which I view that through.
And speaking of which, a very funny story. I actually got today on LinkedIn. I had a post about my brother-in-law, who is an autistic comedian, and he's going to be performing on Canada's Got Talent, which is the Canadian version of the America's Got Talent, tomorrow night. And so I was trying to promote support my brother-in-law. He's autistic, but he's a comedian. He struggled with his life, and I think it'd be a good opportunity for him to get some brand awareness and whatnot. And then this person commented saying, "Hey, thanks. This is so awesome. I'm going to send you a DM. Please accept." And then I went to her DM. She sent it to me, and she was selling me right away. She's like, "Hey, Bobby, are you looking for lead generation? And are you looking for get to 10 to 15 positive leads per day, or a week or whatever it was?" And I was like, and so I got the message. I was like, "That's not the way to do it. I don't even know you. Build the relationship, build the trust." So I wrote back, and I wrote back actually not to the message, but actually commented publicly. I said, "Thank you so much for your comment. However, your DM was all about getting more lead generation. I thought you were going to talk about something relevant to my brother-in-law and helping him out. That's just some feedback for you. I appreciate the comment, but you have to be mindful of how you DM folks. And then I thought that'd be the end of it. But she actually wrote back and said, "So sorry about that." And I appreciate that. She owned it, which is good. I think that's good because I think a lot of people are are doing it wrong. They're not doing it the right way. That's why, like this room, for example, we host these rooms, and I want you all to follow Melanie and follow Indra and follow me across here and other platforms. But we're doing this because we're building relationships, we're sharing knowledge, and in doing so, we build familiarity and the trust and the likability and all that kind of stuff on a longer period of time. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. So, that's the first part of social selling is building that relationship and, and being of service and being of value. Because if you consistently are being of service and being of value, then people will start to know, like, and trust that value that you do bring to the table. So that's what it's all about. Now, we invite people to come on stage and share their thoughts or ask questions. So we do love that because this is a community, and it can't be just the three of us talking all the time. So I see Bez is up here. Bez, welcome. Go ahead and share your question or comment today.
Hey, I love this topic. Melanie, what you're saying resonates with me about listening. And it's interesting because I got into recruiting, staffing in the early 90s, and I ended up building sales teams for telecom companies like the Sprints, the GTs that became Verizon. And it's interesting. Everything I mean, we didn't call it social selling back in the day. We just called it professional sales or consultative sales. And there's specific training for that. And, a lot of people, especially in the creative space, talk about icky sales. Like, my thought is get over it. It's sales is a tried and true honored profession that's been around since the millennia, and if you ever been around true, I mean, professional salespeople, they can even be a car salesman from Mercedes Benz that knows how to do it the right way. And everything that you guys are saying, developing value, serving, building trust, components of a high level true sales. And a lot of times people don't even think that they do sales, but sales is influence. Sales is education. This is part of what sales is. And if you convinced your coworkers to go to, the Mexican restaurant instead of going to the Italian restaurant, well, you did a little bit of selling, right? If today you have a significant other, you had to sell them so um and going back to you, Melanie, the one time I interviewed a salesperson, walked in the door, was referred to me, came from Digital Equipment Corp, and he had a one-page resume. I saw him from my, you know, I saw him when it came in to check in. A little bit frumpy. Not even a suit, just a white shirt, no tie, slacks. Didn't look like a salesperson to me. He sat down, we talked, and it was the best conversation I've ever had in my life. I asked him at the end. I go, you don't really exude what I have typically in the hundreds of salespeople I've talked to, and I asked him, "What is your secret sauce?" And he goes, "You know what? I listen. I'm really good at listening, and then I take back that information, go design a solution for my customer, and then they buy it." And his resume was just, you know, goal attainment, goal attainment. He was always blowing out his quotas, in the millions, tens of millions of dollars. Um, a lot of so I want to say what you said about listening is so important. You want to be a true great sales professional, whether you call it social or professional or whatever you call it, really get good at listening and get to know your person, because then that starts the journey to everything else, the likability, the trust, the relationship, the long view of everything. So hey, I love this space. Thanks for letting me share my insights.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks, Bez. And again, I think
Back to
that
you.
you're right. What? Uh, sorry, what? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? You guys can hear me? Yes?
Hello.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay, okay. Just want to make sure. Um, yeah, so what I was going to say that, sales have been around for a long, long time, for hundreds and thousands of years. People have always been selling something. I think now because we talk about the digital landscape and because of the post-COVID world, being able to break through the clutter of so much information and misinformation. I mean, there's people out there who are selling how to do LinkedIn, but the wrong way. There are people who are selling how to do Twitter, but the wrong way. There's people selling how to do sales and selling the wrong way. So it's important for us to you know, find a way to build that trust and build that. Sorry, I'm coughing here a lot. So I think that's an important piece for us to understand. We have to actually get better at selling and social selling, and that's why learning to adapt how you sell will go a long way to how you set yourself apart. Um, sorry, I'm having a bit of a coughing fit, so I'm going to ask Melanie
Yeah.
to talk a bit more about what you're doing to monetize on platforms.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I'm going to take you back to last fall. Last fall, I actually got kicked off of LinkedIn in particular, and had to go through a very harsh journey with that. I'm back on that platform. It took a little while. It took just up and through. I think that was from like maybe the beginning of September through, and I know the day it happened was on Halloween because I remember thinking, is this a trick or is this a treat? But one of the biggest lessons that it taught me was because for an essence, I'd put my eggs in one basket. I put it into the LinkedIn basket, and I sat there and I said to myself, oh crap. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, my basket just got taken away. I mean, I really honestly didn't know because it looked pretty bleak there, based on what was happening, that I wouldn't be able to be back on that platform, which is the platform that I had drawn the most of my clients from. So I really had to go in and go, okay, you know what, I can't have all my eggs in one basket. So anybody that is in, that is using social media as a way to grow their platform, as a way to grow their business, as a way to be seen, I will be the first to tell you that you absolutely cannot. You have to have a multi-platform strategy. You have to be able to look at other platforms. Now, I was going to definitely move forward. I definitely did start to move forward, and I'll be fully transparent, I haven't done as great of a job as I want to do. And so this is kind of a great conversation to spark that, make sure that I'm implementing the strategy that I need to have, because you do need to show up, because the reality, and I did a full, one of my newsletters, I did an article fully dedicated to what was called my unfortunate incarceration. But what it also taught me is that and if anything, we've learned here on Twitter, that we're renting this space, and we can be kicked off these platforms at any given time. Things can happen. If you look at what's happening with TikTok, that also, where there is a potential ban of that here in the US, and which is probably why I've kind of pulled back a little, because I'm kind of waiting to see what happens there, because I didn't necessarily want to go all in if I'm not going to have that platform available to me. But you also have to look at the advent of social audio, whether it's here in Twitter Spaces or on Clubhouse, and are you taking advantage of those? So there's so much out there, but you cannot just go one focus. So for me personally, I do have myself kind of spread out. I don't think of it as being spread out too thin. I touch on multiple platforms. I do need to get better because I've kind of fallen back into my little bit of my LinkedIn trap, and now I'm like talking about it, and it almost scares me. So for me, I try to, one of the things I do, I come and I serve as a co-host for this room every single Monday. I have 2 rooms that I am a co-moderator for on Clubhouse. Of course, I show up on LinkedIn. I haven't been as great with Instagram, just it hasn't been the platform of my choice. But I do post there, and I do somewhat engage. I could do better. And then also, I would love honestly, I would love to be able to go full force with TikTok, and we'll see what happens here in the US with that. But again, I'm not willing to put all my eggs in one basket because I am a living proof that it can be taken away from you. I was very fortunate. If the LinkedIn gods are listening, I always put it out there. Thank you. I'm trying to be a good citizen. But that being said, I know that it can be taken away. So I'm not, I know what the outcome of that is if you don't do this. How you doing over there, Bobby?
I'm all right. Actually, I'm recovering. I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm sniffling too a little bit. So, but no, that's great. And I just did a post this morning. Another little quick story for everybody. I recently passed 1,000 subscribers in YouTube. Now, YouTube is one of the ones that I've always struggled with different platforms. Like so, LinkedIn and Twitter have always done well for me. Same with Facebook, but Instagram was a really tough beast to crack, and I finally was able to get some results there. But YouTube also just terrible. I never could figure it out. But part of my multi-platform strategy is that whenever I do videos, and I've done over 1,000 videos and live streams, I'll always put on YouTube as a place to store it, as like a database. And so now I just passed 1,000 subscribers. Now that's good because what that means is these subscribers are going to actually check out my other piece of content that are on there. There's 1,000 videos on there, so there's lots to look at. It's a great place for me to send people to answer a question. It's a great place to say, hey, take look at my 10-part series on storytelling or my 10-part series on personal branding or how to become a speaker. And instead of me having to book a 10-minute call with them, I can just send them there. It builds social selling trust, familiarity, and awareness, right, and likability, and that's kind of where it can lead to more business. So I think that and that's a new one for me. And then the reason why I think multi-platform is so important is because diverse audiences, different hooks, being accessible. These are all ways you can actually build thought leadership. And I think Melanie's big point about platforms. I mean, LinkedIn is seeing significant organic decrease in reach and impressions. Twitter is still in chaotic mode because there's a lot of shit going on here, and I'm still not like until Elon Musk finds an operational team to run things for him versus him just tweeting like mad on this platform. Twitter's in some chaos. We have to find a way to hopefully get some stability with that. And I have another friend who got locked out of Facebook. So these things happen. So having multi platforms goes a long way to building, a stronger business for yourself. And so, if you're in the audience, you like what you're hearing, feel free to tweet it out there. You can share comments or questions in the bubble box in the bottom right there. You can also, if you tweet some insights from people are sharing, if you tag me or Indra Melanie, I'll see it. I'll retweet to 500,000 followers, and next thing you know, we'll get more people in the room and you'll get more followers because I have 500,000 followers. And you'll see that up in the nest above there's a tweet there. You can retweet that out to get more people in the room. We'd love that. And I encourage you to put your hand up and come on stage like the immortal Bez, who is now standing out as a thought leader, and people are starting to be familiar with him. They're starting to be aware of him. And I think they're starting to like you, Bez. So boom to that, right?
It's that, someone saying, "Oh, you're a thought leader," makes me, it's that imposter syndrome that creeps in and says, "No, you're not." Yeah, but it's. Hey, thank you. By the way, let me ask you guys a question. In regards, you're talking about these platforms and they can shut you down, and that is true. What is your strategy? Because, my thing with LinkedIn, people always complaining about LinkedIn, but, I quickly always took people off LinkedIn into a conversation, whether it's Zoom or on the phone. So it didn't really matter. Even LinkedIn for me is top of funnel type of tool, because, I've got to get off the platform and talk to the person. So what do you guys do, or what's your strategy, and do you take them somewhere? And if you do, where do you take them?
I take them for ice cream. No, I'm kidding. I'll let Indra answer this one first. Indra, you didn't get a chance to speak yet. So, Indra, what do you think about this one? And then I'll answer it.
Okay, so that's a really interesting thing. And just backtracking a little bit is I'd like to just say, look, with this topic of social selling, if you have an account on any of these platforms, you are basically selling yourself because you are a personal brand or you are promoting a brand or whatever your posts are going to be interpreted. So a lot of people, they say, oh no, well, I'm not selling anything. I'm not, I just have an account for fun. Well, even those accounts for fun can turn into an actual account that can monetize, that is providing value to others. You fall into a niche and you think, I'm just being on here, or I'm really here for the news. But then you realize that you are posting about certain topics and people are coming to your page and they're commenting back, and you're starting to get traffic. So I just want to point that out, because I think many of us underestimate what we have when we have an account. And I'm not talking about the friends and families, accounts on Facebook. I'm talking about, on Twitter, on Instagram, on even YouTube. Some people start collecting, videos that they like. They start doing, it could even be just the example of having home videos, or whatever the niche is. And then it turns into uh, something that is way bigger than what they ever thought about. So I think it's really worthwhile to invest in yourself and to think about, well, what am I selling on my account? What have I mainly got? Shout out to everybody who's in this room here. Everybody, you're socially selling to somebody. Bunsen Beaker are here, our partners with the Positivity Vibe Tribe. Shout out to you, Arnaldo. Hey, shout out to you. Vincent's here, Simon, Arkasat, Ariel. Oh my gosh, all these people, all you guys are in this space, success minded. Everybody here has a product being their account, and there's opportunities there if you want to take them, if you haven't already. So just something to think about as far as social selling. Sorry, I wanted to add that in a little bit earlier. Back to you, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks for that. And going back to the question that Bez asked, the number one thing the number one thing to get people to monetize your business via social selling is to get them in the DMs. You have to start having a personal, private, one-on-one conversation with them. Now, that's the number one thing. When I do a clubhouse room, I want to get a DM with them. If I do a Twitter space, in the DMs. If I'm LinkedIn, a DM. That's what you want. People often ask, how do you measure the success of a post? Well, because there's likes, there's shares, retweets, reposts, replies, comments. The number one thing that I measure the success of a post is if they actually DM me, because that's pretty rare. So you want to actually get them in the DMs, or if you do a webinar or training, you want to get them live with you in a Zoom call, in a group Zoom call or a community call, whatever, and then eventually prompt them to DM you. But that to me is the number one way to monetize your business. So that would be my take, Bez. Melanie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think DMs are again, I think it's the way to go. I think you have to establish yourself in terms of, being very clear. Like you gave the example, Bobby, of somebody that's like, I'm going to DM you. And it's like, okay. I mean, immediately when you said that, of course, my red flag went up. I'm like, oh, I would have been like, oh, I know she's going to send me something that I don't, necessarily want. Just because people have been, there's just, I don't know who's doing the selling. I don't know who's doing these teachings, I should say. But literally, it's like, it doesn't work, folks. I mean, it just doesn't work to come and hit my DM box and just try to sell me something that you don't even know if I need. Like you've never, what does my post about, tough interview questions have to do with me getting leads? Guess what? I'm building those relationships with every single person that responds to that post. I'm open, I'm allowing myself to have the freedom of saying, can we connect by that connect, by commenting and by interacting with that person? I'm allowing myself to have, I'm giving that door to open. And then I can start to establish more of a relationship from there. So I think the way to open the door is you have to engage with the person first in a meaningful and thoughtful way. that gives you permission to ask for the door to be open, and then you can start to have conversations. But it's not just a 1-2. It's not an easy road. Sales, again, some sales will be easy, and you have to appreciate those and you run with them. Other times it's about relationship building. And I'd also point to what Indra said too, is that every single person, and I even tell my clients all this all the time, you're selling yourself. I know you may not want to hear that. You may not even like it. It may make you cringe, and you may fight with me and say, I'm just trying to get a job. Nope, you're selling yourself. Every single time you have to present yourself to the public in any way, shape, or form, whether it's you even have a job and you're now giving a presentation, you have to step up to that plate and know how you're being viewed, how you are in what you're trying to convince your audience to do. And so I think when it comes to quote unquote social selling, we have to start taking away the stigma of selling is bad, but also knowing the right ways to do it is what's most important.
And that reminds me of something else that's really important, which is, there's different types of users and buyers out there. So, there's people who are, cold leads, so people who don't really know you, and then eventually get to know you through your content. There's other people who are more warm leads. They actually say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about such and such, a topic. Bobby, I want to learn about TEDx. I want to learn about how to become a speaker. I want to learn about your TLB Club membership community. And then there are what I call hot leads, people who directly say, oh my gosh, I must get a TED Talk this year. I must do this year or this month. And so sometimes for those people, they actually sign up right away. And that's why, as part of my content strategy, even though I'm hosting rooms like this and I do the social selling piece and build the long relationship, sometimes I still have a tweet that goes out every like a week that says, "Hey, if you're looking to get a TED Talk, click here. If you're looking to sign up for this, click here." Like I still promote my programs because you never know, someone might be a very very hot lead that comes in. So I had that recently. Someone came in and they're like, "I really want a TED Talk, Bobby. Let's book a call." Great. They saw that I posted it. They messaged me right away, and we had a call, and now I'm working with them. So that's rare. I mean, those are the best clients, and they're rare though. So the longer game is to play with the other ones. But so it's important to also, while we're doing the strategy to social sell long term and build a relationship, you also should be not afraid to sell your services and talk about what you're doing. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how I help people. Like, put it out there. It's totally fine. A lot of people are feeling too shy about that. They have the imposter syndrome. They don't want to do it. And even myself, I still have imposter syndrome when I put stuff out there. A perfect example is on LinkedIn. Because every time on LinkedIn I do a post where I'm actually quote unquote selling something, like I'm doing a workshop or I'm running this TEDx program or whatever it might be, or I'm trying to build a speaker program. Uh, those posts do terrible, and so in my mindset, I'm like, oh, maybe people don't want that anymore. Maybe LinkedIn doesn't want me to do that, even though LinkedIn's a professional network place. I mean, where else am I going to sell my business? I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I'm not there to promote. I'm not there to talk about my company I work for. I'm not there to talk about the career event that I just went to. Like, I have to build my business. So my mindset sometimes gets in my head, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it so much. And now people don't like me selling on LinkedIn, but I still should. But I still have a hang up about that. Indra, Melanie, I'd love to hear. Do you have any? Do you have any? Do you still have any sometimes mindset around selling stuff online?
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. And I'm venturing into this area more and more. Um, One thing I did want to say is that something that I learned a little while ago was also, because we're talking about um, cross platforms, is also to have the same. I know this sounds really basic, but to have the same, profile pic across all your different, platforms, so that people can easily identify you. I had a different one on LinkedIn, and a few people mentioned it to me that it would be better if I had the same visual. So that's one thing. But I am actually getting into this comfort space of monetizing across the different platforms. and it is an unusual place to be when you're starting off with this. So I'm going to be sharing my journey, but some of it has happened. Well, there's different types of monetization. So and so on Instagram, okay, that sort of just happened by accident. I didn't even know that was going to happen. On Twitter, when the subscribers feature came out, well, initially it was super follows. That, suddenly I had the opportunity, and I had to quickly figure out, well, what was I going to be offering everybody, as far as if they join up. So that has been kind of like the journey so far. And then, of course, private coaching classes on meditation has been something that I've been very lucky that actually people have reached out to me in the DMs, and that's how I've gotten those clients, those long-term clients. So back to your point, Bobby, of the DMs are very powerful, and especially when you start to build up credibility in a certain area and people reach out to you. So back to you, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate it. And Melanie, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle every day with my mindset in terms of, being able to kind of put myself out there. I'm getting better about it. I, did kind of a soft launch this late winter, early spring of a group coaching program centered around networking, and I did it very soft. I did it super soft because I just wanted to kind of dip my dip my toe into the pool. And there could have been I could have been much more aggressive. It's not typically my style. I mean, I ended up getting I think 3 or 4 people that signed up for it for me. And for me, that was a great success, just for something that I wasn't absolutely perfect in the way I wanted it to be, but I did it anyways. So that's been that was a great way to kind of get me started. Um, but yeah, I definitely don't sell myself as much as I really should. And I don't know if it's more of the mindset, where a mindset issue, but I know when it comes to like there's still times though that people will hire me and I'll be like, really? I'll still kind of question, sometimes why, that I still get hired, or that people still, or somebody will say something about like, oh my gosh, all this information. And I'll be like, oh, do I? So I still question myself. I still doubt myself. And I think that's probably why it's harder for me sometimes to show up from a selling aspect, because of that, and fully embracing my knowledge and my expertise. And so, yeah, I mean, it's still, that ugly voice in my head still it still shows up. Maybe not as much as it used to, but it still shows up.
Yeah, and I think the important point is that this is a normal thing. Like, we all feel this way sometimes, and that's why, when it comes to, when I talk about building thought leadership branding, and I talk about becoming authority in your space, when I talk about monetizing your content, mindset is a big foundation that we all have to work on, and we all have those challenges, and it's okay. Like, heck, even when we run these spaces, like Indra and Melanie and I to start off, and we talk for 20 minutes, and there's only 6 people here, and we're like, oh man, I guess we suck, or we're thinking that, right? But now there's more people, which is great. We love you guys coming into it, but sometimes you feel like, oh, I guess, is it a bad topic? Is it me? Does my voice smell? I don't know. Who knows what it could be? So, I think that's something that comes to mind. So it's perfectly normal to have doubts. It's perfectly normal to feel imposter syndrome. It's part of the human experience, because we have a lot of investment in what we're trying to do. We want to be better. We want to serve the world. We want to build our businesses. And so I think that's an important thing to understand. I want to give a shout out to Brigitte and Simon in the audience. They're people I know. It's good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. And more people, you want to come on stage, you want to put your hand up and share a thought, or hey, come up on, if you ask a question or share who you are. This is how you stand out. This is how you stand out in rooms. One of my clients, actually Melanie, and Manny, I've been he's been doing quite well doing real estate and mortgage brokerage tips on Twitter, and so I've been telling him to go into Twitter Spaces and just I said, put your hand up and go on stage, just do it. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, just do it. And now he's been doing it, and what's happening is now he's getting asked to speak at other events and share his knowledge, which is exactly what you want because that's how you build. Again, the goal is number one, build awareness. People know who you are. Number two, build familiarity. They kind of know who you are and they kind of like who you are. And then number three, make them love you, like you, and trust you. And that's what you want to do when it comes to your social media and even your in-person connection and networking. So I just want to make sure that point is clear. Okay. We have a new speaker on stage, Her Heroism NFT. Welcome to the stage. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Hi, so nice to meet you all. So nice to be here. Happy Monday, everybody. Um, yeah, so my name is Just, also known as Her Heroism. I started my business over a year ago, and I'm just promoting positivity, and and that's the basis of my entire business. It's also uplifting women and everyone. And I started an NFT collection. I'm all across social platforms. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I went viral many times. Videos hit millions of views, and I have like a couple thousand on Instagram, like 16.8 thousand, I think. So it's like I'm doing really good with getting noticed and serving my audience through positivity and building that familiarity with going viral. I also have experienced a lot of the mindset challenges that have been talked about as well. Um, but really, my issue that I've been having is selling, because I've been spreading the positivity. I've been having my own spaces every single Thursday, and I've been putting myself out there as much as I can, even more so now than ever. So with selling, do you have uh any strategies for actually selling product on your platforms that are all interconnected?
And sorry, I didn't get your name. What's your name?
My name is Just.
Hey, Just. So I have a question for you. So, you know, building awareness is great. So I think that's an important piece, and you've done a really good job of that. So the real question, and a lot of people are out there building influence, building awareness, getting impressions and likes and millions of parties, which is great. But monetization is a completely different beast. So I guess the question is, what are you doing to actually so let me give you a more simple question. The big question, what are you doing to monetize? But the smaller question would be, what are you doing to get them to encourage them to DM you? Are you saying anything in your post, like being positive, great, but are you saying anything to get them to want to DM you and ask you about maybe working with you? What are you doing with that?
Okay, so actually I have an automation. So whenever someone comments on my post, I have an automation automatically DM them to and this goes back to what you were saying before, Melanie, where you were like, I don't want some random DM from someone trying to sell me something that I didn't ask for, because I am putting out the positivity posts. So whenever someone comments a specific comment, the automation will send them a DM of my website link, just in case they want to go ahead and check my website out. But that is not working. So I'm looking for new strategies so that I can implement them, so that I can, switch it up and do things a little different.
Okay, so I mean, so you're automatically DMing them after they comment on your post. Okay, but what I want you to think about is what are you doing in the post itself to get them to message you first? You want to have either you're talking about a pain point, you're resonating with them in a way that hits them hard, uh, not terribly hard, but in a way like hits them. Oh man, that's really interesting. And then you have a call to action where you encourage them to message you and DM you. I think that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is that, I mean, do you like getting automated DMs when you comment on people's posts? Because I'll tell you, when I get them, what do I do with most of them? I ignore them. That's just a fact. So why do you think that would work with your followers? Right? I mean, it's still an elevation of engagement, which I think is good. It's good that, like, if you have systems and you're able to automate engagement, that's great. But if you're going to do that, what I would do is I would automate um, gratitude and a question to start a conversation. I wouldn't even pitch anything. I would say, hey, thanks so much for commenting on my post. What resonated with it? What resonated most with you on what I talked about today? Something like that. I'm making this up, but you know what I mean? Like, that's what I would talk about.
That is absolutely brilliant. And I did not think of that. That is why I didn't do it. But I was also hoping for site views. And when you get a lot of activity on your site ends up doing better and doing well. So I created this website. I worked really hard on it. It's not a 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. You got a site. It's like you actually have to put in work with that and every social media platform that you're on and everything that you're doing. So, I put a lot of time in everything that I do. I'm also creating a cartoon animation series. So it's like I'm doing so many different things, and I just wanted to kind of make life easier for myself by having the automation. But you're totally right. You're so right. And if you have any other or if anyone else has any other tips, I would gladly welcome that, because I am a lifelong learner, still learning. I'm still in my 20s. So I'm doing a lot, trying everything that I can to, you know, be even more successful, because I'm already successful in my head. So thank you so much for that insight. And in the future, I would love to have a TED Talk. I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh yeah, put it out there. I love that. Just put it out there. I love that. So yeah, getting a TED Talk is a big deal, and I'm working on that right now for several people. I think it's important. But also, I mean, Melanie is on mic too. Melanie, share your thoughts and insights.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything Bobby said, of course, hits the nail on the head there. And one of the things that I would tell you is just, yeah, of course, we want to drive people to our websites. But what I'll say is, if you're building those authentic relationships and building those authentic conversations, guess what'll happen? They'll naturally come and want to know more about you and go and check out your website. So sometimes we cut, I'm horrible with analogies, so I don't know why I try to insert them, but like, we tried to cut off the snake of the head, the head of the snake, and by like, oh well, I'm gonna have an automatic DM, and what that's actually doing is it's repelling people to go, oh, I'm not really, I don't really want that, as opposed to if you sent did the approach Bobby did, guess what probably they would do on their own natural curiosities, that they would go to your website. I think that what you have to do, like, for example, I mentioned my networking program. And what I did was, for I think it was like 4 or 5 weeks, pretty much all of my content was really geared, most of my content, I should say, was geared around networking. So I had very specific content based on that particular topic. And then what I would, and mainly I did this on LinkedIn, but I would include in the comments section, it wasn't really even in the post. But I would say, if you are interested in taking this a step further, I am offering this program. I'd put it in the comments section so it wasn't, so blatant. I'd start to kind of follow up with those people, just saying, thank you, hey, thank you. Is there any other topics on networking that you're interested in? Because this is something I'm developing, and I really want, I'd love to get your insight and things that you struggle with. In fact, I'm going to do a post today. I do a poll every Sunday. I have pretty consistent on LinkedIn. I'm pretty consistent content, but I did a poll yesterday about, what's your greatest weakness question? And then I had, one person say, "Hey, Melanie, could you offer, could you do something and offer some more specific examples of like how to answer these questions and things like that?" So I said, "Sure, Alex. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create another post today. I'm going to do a carousel post, and I got to create it, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to tag you. I'm also going to share that here on how I break this down and how I train people in terms of answering specific interview questions. So now I'm going into a service that I offer without really saying, "Hey, I can help you do your interview prep," which is actually something I do love to do. I'm offering it without really saying I'm offering it. So I hope that helps.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you ask your audience questions. That is that's definitely, it definitely sounds like a strategy that would work because people love talking about themselves. So the more you're able to make people feel important and like their opinion or how they feel matters, the more they will in turn like you and want to trust you. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I think like having those conversations and offering value the best way you can, will build that trust and likability, right? So I talk to these people as I answer questions. I'll sometimes, because the other thing too is that when you get into the DM strategy piece of your social selling strategy, again, DMs are the most important thing. Once if they engage you, that's awesome because that's rare, right? That's the sweet spot. So I often tell people in the TLB Club and my communities, like, if you get an email or you get a DM from somebody, that's your number one priority. Number one priority is to respond to those people because they are the most closest to becoming your clients. So nurture that, answer their questions, help them out, and eventually, if you feel there's an opportunity to book a call, then yeah, book a call, and the magic can happen. Andrew, I want to see if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah. There's one thing that I really don't enjoy receiving those automated um, DMs or emails because it's like it's almost as if it's not personal enough, and sometimes I almost feel like it's not specific. I've received them when I've actually liked somebody's post, and then I've received this automatic DM pretty much very close to, to after when I've just sent it. I've liked it, and they've probably just sent it off, but automatically that it says, thank you for liking my post, and there's different variations of how this goes, but it actually has made me not like their post because I thought, oh my gosh, my DMs are just getting loaded by some of these people. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I think less is more because it's usually the same sort of accounts that will send it to me. And then I'm sort of like, oh, I don't know if if I just like this stuff. Like I'm just dabbling. It's the first time I've seen this type of post from this account. Now also because we're getting a lot more in our feed, of different people. So in the future, that's actually a deterrent for me. So I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a good way to build relationships. It's certainly not a personal touch, that's for sure.
Yes, that is extremely insightful, Indra. I really appreciate you saying that. And I also was noticing that and also thinking about it myself. On my social media platforms, I have done some research, YouTube University, and when you are trying to build a massive social media platform like how I've been doing, you go on YouTube and you ask, how do you do that? And a lot of times they have these suggestions for you that say that you can utilize the tools that are available, like automated messaging services. So I took advantage of that because I wanted to see how well it would do. I got a lot of site visits, but not a lot of sales. So that was my whole purpose of coming up here. But I appreciate all of your answers so much, because now it's led me into a new direction, and gave me so much confidence moving forward. So thank you.
That's sweet, eh? Okay, that's good. All right. Let's do a clap. Everyone's showing some knowledge here. I don't use the sound effects as much as I should. I think I should do them more. But anyhow, let me stop that. Okay, great. So thanks so much for that. And again, we're talking about social selling, how to monetize your business across many platforms. If you have a question, we're now an hour in, so we're probably going to close soon. I know Melanie has to go for a client because she's busy building business, which is good. So thanks, Melanie. If anyone wants to come on stage and ask a final question, I'm happy to take it. Or if you want to come up and just say hello or pitch your business. I mean, this is like that's the thing. Like when you come up on here, I mean, you could pitch your business. I'm really cool with that. So I'm totally fine with the people who make our rooms look good and create great conversations like just here. I appreciate that, and Bez as well. You're adding value to this room. And after this room is over, there's going to be a replay, so you can share the replay. You can take a photo of this room. You can tell people what it's all about, and we're here every week on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern weekly to talk about the power of connection. So this is a chance for you to share knowledge. The replay will show up. You can share 3 points you got. You can share that on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You can take a photo of this room, and every time you tag me or Indra or Melanie or anyone else, like we'll see it. I'll then like and comment on it, which then means my 47,000 my LinkedIn profile will see it. My 35,000 on Instagram will see it when I comment and post. So that this is all it's all win-win if you do that. So that's why I encourage people to just put your hand up and be part of the conversation if you want. But if not, no worries. We're here every week and we're here to support you guys on your journey. But what I can tell you is that social selling for a business is an integral part of how you build trust, likability, awareness, so that people will value you and want to buy from you and work with you. So, and the multi-platform piece is incredibly important because every single social platform is free for use to a point, but there's also limitations and constrictions and organic reach issues. And so, having a diverse platform where we reach out to lots of people in different areas will go a long way to helping you attract new and interested people that will be part of your community. The last thing I want to say about this is that if anyone's interested in being part of an active and vibrant community, I now run a membership community called the Thought Leadership Brand Club. So, those who can't afford my large scale programs and my hourly rate for consulting, I have a membership community and it's really, really cheap. And people get access to me and Melanie and a bunch of other diverse experts from around the world. There's about 30 to 40 of us in there. And we're all about helping each other build our brands and build our businesses and get to that next level and have community. We have weekly calls twice a week. We share replays and transcripts. We do mini trainings. We do all this stuff. And next week's our Bring a Friend Day. So if anybody wants to come to the Bring a Friend Day Zoom call, you're more than welcome. But if you want to learn more about it, check it out because it's an easy entry point to access me and other people. So you can take a look at that. And I'm trying to push that a little bit more now because I think communities go a long way. So it's called the Thought Leadership Branding Club. You can look it up. You can see it on LinkedIn. It's also on Twitter under TLB Branding Club, and you can learn more about that. But let's get to some final thoughts for today. Indra, share some final thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby. There was a lot of value that you shared and Melanie on this concept of social selling. And I think the biggest piece that came out of today's discussion was basically the mindset. If we can set our mind in the right direction as far as reframing a lot of the thoughts that we have, which seems to be the biggest thing for all of us, even successful people at the highest levels, they still have so much, doubt about themselves. They're pushing themselves to another level. So there's never going to be a point in our lives where, we have so much, we have confidence, we are filled to the top. And the thing is that by building our confidence up, and it comes back to some of the basics sometimes, our self talk, um, you know, not looking at too much social media around us and focusing on ourselves, not doing the comparison thing. I mean, that's the biggest way to, steal your own thunder is, you're setting out, you're working on your social media accounts across the different platforms. And what happens is, then you notice someone who has this perfect life on Instagram and they're dancing around or they're doing whatever they're doing, their thing, right? And that's wonderful. And, you know, wish them well. But the thing is, don't compare yourself to that, because a lot of the time we're comparing ourselves to people that have been doing this for a lot longer than us. We don't understand the story, the history behind all of that. So that's the biggest stealer, I think. So just always believe in yourself. And like today's post I have is about I am enough. And I think that's a really great way. I'm going to share it up in the nest, Bobby, as well. And it's on my profile page if anybody's interested. But believing that you are enough is one of the basics of building ourselves up, that we are enough in this moment, and believing in you and your brand and everything that you have to offer. That's a really great place to start. So I've just added that to the nest. And of course, on Wednesday, Success Minded, who's here in the space, we are running an amazing space, and it's about creative thinking beyond black and white. So it's about opening up your mind to go a little bit further than just the black and white, to go to the gray areas, to go to the pink areas, to go to all the different areas that are available to us in the way that we're thinking. So that'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, we're holding another space on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you all for joining us in this space. And I just want to wish you all love, light, and blessings.
Thanks, Indra. Always glad to have you be our co-host here every week. And I actually do other rooms too. I should mention that tomorrow I do a room on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn audio room. And I'm going to be talking about AI and Chat GPT use on LinkedIn. So that'll be an interesting conversation. I also do another audio room on LinkedIn audio on Thursdays at 2 p.m. So I'm out there doing rooms, and I'm happy to share my knowledge with people, because I think it's part of what we're doing to build our communities and offer value to folks. Yeah, just to go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I absolutely love Indra's post. I actually did one similar today. Just letting everyone know, today is an amazing day. And as a friendly reminder to not take life too seriously and have some fun. And I actually used my trending sound that is on Instagram. It is a trending sound now. And I use that in the video that is the post that I posted today, which is the same thing as Indra. It's like, hype yourself up. You could be number one. And it's Motivation Monday. And, I just wanted to share with people, like, that is how we build ourselves up. We tell ourselves, I'm number one, and you actually believe it, and then you share it with other people and say you could be number one too. So that's awesome. I also have a space that I do every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's called Thursday Thursday. I have a little new segment that is called Keep It Going, and it's a little game, and I'm just introducing it now. So definitely, if you would love to join, definitely follow me. Those spaces are everything to me, and it's how I'm building my brand. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you for giving me the floor to speak.
Yeah, and thank you for coming up on stage, because I think a lot of people don't do that. So I want to thank you for that. And again, guys, you can reach out to me, follow me on Twitter, follow me on LinkedIn. If you have questions about how to build your brand, how to build your thought leadership brand, how to start monetize your business, this is what I do as a speaker, a coach, and a community leader. So there's lots of ways that I can help you, or my community can help you. With that, remember, you have an opportunity to create a powerful story, legacy, and brand for yourself. And it comes by knowing who you are and how you serve people. And in doing that, coming up with the right strategies to build and monetize and grow is going to serve you well and provide you with the freedoms and autonomy that you want for your life. And you can look back and say, yeah, I built this for myself and it's all mine, as opposed to build my own dream versus building someone else's dream. So I want to thank you all for being here. Check out the replay after it's done, and feel free to ping me and DM me anything you have questions about. All right, all the best to you. Take care, and so long.